What is the most disrespectful thing that someone has done in your home? Friend must have seen me once put in the code for my spare key lockbox, and I came home to her in my fucking house. Mind you, we're not close. Her excuse? She had to go to the toilet. Safe to say, I reset that shit and didn't invite her over anymore. Weirded me out. I had a best friend apparently steal my spare apartment key and made a copy of it. When I caught him at it, he tried lying, but I caught him in that, too. Long story short, he was apparently in love with me and was coming into my apartment while I was at work because he missed me so much. He also admitted to stealing a pair of my underwear. It's a very unsettling feeling and really glad you caught your potential perv, too. Okay, that's actually terrifying. My mom made a huge dinner for my aunt and cousins. They showed up 2 hours late. Told my mom, "Oh sorry, the boys can't eat that much right now," and just went in our fridge and made them sandwiches instead. The same exact thing happened to us. My great aunt, poor old lady, spent the entire day cooking for a family meal we only had once a year as a tradition. It was the only holiday that all of us get together. They came 2 hours after they were supposed to come and didn't eat anything because they went out for dinner instead. Our family had a huge falling out with those specific people because of other reasons, but it sure signaled the end was coming. Ugh, this was my fucking cousin. My grandma would make a whole big meal, whether for a holiday or just a get-together, and my cousin would want pizza instead, and then complain it was either over or undercooked. Fucking hated that girl, and she grew up to be a shitty entitled adult too. Shoot, I ate once before remembering I was meeting my family for a special meal my mum had cooked, and I still made myself eat when I got there. Yeah, it may be excessive, but it's awful if you make all that work go to waste. And I'm a fat kid for life. She invited a bunch of sleazy guys over, despite me asking her not to. She let them in while I was in the shower, so I did not realize they were in my house. She then took one into my housemate's bedroom and locked the door. Super disrespectful to my housemate, who had so kindly offered that she could stay in her room as she was going to be at her boyfriend's for the weekend. When I got out of the shower, one of the guys was in my bed, and I was like, "Dude, get the fuck out of my bedroom, monsieur," and he refused and said my friend said he could stay there. I was very not okay with that. I physically had to push them out of my house. The next day when she sobered up, I kicked her out of my house and did not speak to her for 3 years. In what universe could someone think my friend said I could be here trumps "This is my bedroom, monsieur, get out"? He hoped up would fold if he stood his ground. You might be surprised how often it works. It's insane how often I see this work on others. I'm known for being aggressive or confrontational simply because I don't let people walk all over me. I once sat with some exec from corporate who looked at the pen I was using and said, "Wow, nice pen. Mind if I take it?" I sort of laughed and said, "Well, I'm pretty attached to it, monsieur. I was literally writing with it." He goes, "Well, it's just a pen, so it's not like it's a big deal to part with it," and he held out his hand. I said, "No, seriously, I'm using it. There's a pen right next to you." Dude was not happy. I was told by several people that I was an idiot for burning bridges. People were more upset at me for not letting some corporate douche take my pen out of my hand than they were at him for even thinking he could just take my property away like that. I was legitimately stunned and frustrated by the absurdity of the situation. It's crazy to me that other people are so afraid to rock the boat. I mean, yay, fair play, that exec doesn't like me anymore. But at least I'm not a pushover. I make my own destiny, even if it is a shitty one. Fuck that exec. You're smart for not building bridges to somewhere shit. Constantly unplugging electronics. First it was the thermostat. She didn't like the sound the water heater made. Then the Wi-Fi. The CIA was snooping on her. And finally my fridge. She was saving the environment. If anyone unplugged my fridge, I would gently guide them to the door. nudge them out and never talk to them again. I did ask her to leave. She had gone through my things and taken my ex's lease agreement, called the police and claimed she lived there. My house. It was after an awful spinal surgery I went through when I was 12. They were cousins and my parents caught them trying to steal my painkillers. Now that's just shitty edit. What's wrong with people? Yeah, worst part is I was really good friends with their son, so I was confused when they stopped coming around entirely. Didn't learn until a few years later why. It was at a birthday party of mine, and the entire family pretty much caught the monsieur, so they weren't at family event really ever. Again, my wife's cousin was staying at our house because he is going through marital problems. One night I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard some change rattling. He walks down the hall with my 5-year-old's piggy bank. He was taking money from my daughter's fucking piggy bank to buy beer and smokes. Edit. Rearranged a word. And that's when you understood where the marital problems came from, monsieur. This reminds me of when I was probably 6, and our housemate got her kid to steal the check I got for my birthday from my grandparents. It was probably like $40, but a lot of money to me as a child, and we didn't have a lot of money. So a lot of money to my mom too. My mom asked the lady about it and she completely denied it. Being 6, I went into their room and found it in her purse. My $40 TYV, monsieur. Not house but apartment in college. Roommate invited a bunch of people over one night. We each had our own bathroom, clearly marked. I go to get something from my room and hear obvious fucking in my bathroom. I knock on the door and say, "Wrong one. Get the fuck out." After they came out I saw that they had cleaned themselves up on my nice white towels. Apparently she was on her period. Edit. Holy shit, what did I wake up to? To the guy yelling fake. I assure it was not. No, I was not the guy you know working at Domino's. And not your Bed Bath & Beyond towels. These were either Crate and Barrel or JCPenney. Big difference, I know. But still. See, this is where I'd bring the towels out into the common room and demand the roommate or the fuck he's reimburse me. I am not above public shaming. Dude crapped his pants while sitting on my couch playing a video game and just sat there finishing the match. We were having an old-fashioned LAN party and the entire room cleared out. It's really not a true LAN party until someone shits themselves, tbh. We invited a group of people over for lunch. One of them arrived, put a bunch of food on a plate in a plastic container, and left to bring it to eat with her boyfriend. Edited as my memory comes back. Edit 2. I'm told she came back in and grabbed 2 beers from the fridge. Which is when everyone realized what was going on. This one fucking infuriates me. I was a kid, my mom had a friend and her son over. They were over for a couple hours and just as they were leaving I noticed all of my video games were gone. I told my mom. She goes grabs his backpack and of course they were all in his bag. His mother immediately came to his defense, saying he's got a lot of games and must have thought they were his. It didn't even make sense and she acted as if nothing had happened. Anyway, terrible mother. Kid had no chance. He is now in jail for life, no parole, for shooting and killing a cop during a cocaine bust. Well, that escalated quickly. A friend from college days stayed in our house while he was looking for a job in the area. The only house rule was, do not let the cat out. He's strictly an indoor cat and never goes outdoors. We came home one day and found the slider and screen open. Our beloved cat was gone. When he saw how upset and distraught we were, his response was, "It's only a cat, no big deal." Quote, as I've noted here some time ago, we put this guest out right away, and it wasn't until many days later that our cat returned home. Thin, but safe. You broke the circle of trust, fucker. Had a drunk partygoer attempt to do pull-ups from the planks of my old ranch-style ceiling just beneath the heater vent and ended up pulling down a large portion of my ceiling. Refused to pay for it? One night the girls who lived in the apartment across the hall brought a friend with them to hang with us. As soon as she walked in she screamed, "This will be hilarious. College guys always get the shitty hand-me-down dishes from their parents." Quote, she walked into the kitchen and began pulling out pans and dishes and howling about how old and ratty they were. Our friends were mortified. When they tried to talk to her, she talked louder. After 30 seconds of this lunacy, my roommate and I told her to leave. She threw a giant fit and called us assholes. You can pry my shitty hand-me-down pots and pans from my cold dead hands. I grew up with those. *edit. Thanks for the silver. I'll cook you something nice with my shitty pots and pans. She's about to meet my grandma's cast iron skillet, I swear to God. Blood only adds to the seasoning of the pan, ya silly bitch. What a weird way to entertain yourself. Jesus. Not my home, but I was renting a house and the landlady kept turning up unannounced and would let herself in, and would give the key to people doing work on the house without telling us, so we'd, without warning, have strangers let themselves into the house. It was a very stressful way to live. Very stressful, and if you live in the States, also very illegal. I had a landlord like this. He was obsessed with his garden that was on the property and would just show up out of the blue and start gardening. I had a newborn at the time and he gave me super creep vibes if he would knock on the door. I'd just hang out in my room until he went away. My husband worked during the day, so I would always be home alone when he would randomly show up. This one particular day, thinking I was not home, he just started hanging around the yard. He mowed the lawn, picked a few apples, and then took off his shirt and went for a swing on our tree swing. He hung out in our yard for 3 hours while we weren't home. Dude used to freak me the fuck out. A babysitter stole my vibrator and blocked my calls. Like, really? Why would you want someone else's vibrator? Maybe it was a horny 16-year-old who couldn't buy herself one? But that's still beyond disgusting and horrible. At that age they might not be considering how horrifying that is. Though, they gone have some real cringy memories. Somebody left small children in our house while they went to the grocery store. This happened to me. My downstairs neighbor, who I had only talked to once before, knocked on my door and asked if I could watch his 9-month-old daughter while he ran to the store. This poor girl was soaked in pee and had dried food and snot all over her face, so I couldn't say no. I took her in, cleaned her up, and played with her for 2 hours until he came back. I'm 90% sure this grocery shopping was actually a drug deal. Lied to a guest through the bathroom door while he was mid-poop that the toilet didn't flush. I did it. It was hilarious. LMFAO, this is what true evil looks like. Walked in, pounded half a dozen Jack and Cokes and then proceeded to throw up on 4 walls of my bathroom. Monsieur, how did you get it on the ceiling, Kevin? He's a Kevin, that's how. NR1. A friend of mine was kicked out of his house. I decided to ask my mom if it was okay if he'd stay for 2 weeks. That was fine. After 4 days we threw him out. Why? Every night he started making food. His own. Nah. He took it out of our fridge and just made something that he found nice looking. He ate roughly 1 week of food in 3 days. Well then, he went on to one of my best friends. Again, 1 week. Sure. He took it further with a monsieur making food at night, out of their own refrigerator. If he didn't like something, he didn't put it back. No, he left it on the kitchen top. They have cats. One of them got sick. Nearly died. I haven't spoken to the guy in 4 years. And I'm glad that I am not talking to him anymore. NR2. A really good friend of mine was also kicked out of the house by his mom. He couldn't live with his girlfriend. He came over for years prior to that, so my mom was the first to say, sure, the guy behaved like an angel. Intel. His girlfriend was also kicked out of the house. ReGGHHTT. She could stay with us for a week. 2 days into this, my mom made food with her last few bucks. The girl looked at it, said, "No. I'm sorry. Not gonna eat that." She then demanded that her boyfriend took her to some fancy-ass restaurant, and she left. My mom was crying with anger over that, and that was the last thing we ever saw from them, because as soon as they got home, my mom told the girl to fuck off. The guy could stay, and of course they didn't want that, so they ended up sleeping at some 30 SQFT shed in her dad's backyard. I'm so shocked by this. Like, how can people even act like that? Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.